My way, or the highway, and in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Hello and welcome to the Gallop Out. I am your fill-in host, Noah Maher, alongside Jackson Muniz and Tony Calo. Obviously, Ryan is not here with us tonight. Unfortunately, he's what have you got, Jackson? He's got a meeting with some execs out in Arizona.
He's doing something at the symposium in Arizona this weekend. So he got.
I know he's been out at the symposium. Seems like he's been having a blast just chit-chatting with all those racing people and all the industry people out there. So glad for him, but also excited that I get to join you guys to talk about these great races that are upcoming this Saturday at Turfway Park. And we've got nobody better to join us tonight. We got the race caller himself. We got Tony Calo. Tony, what's going on?
Same old stuff. Looking forward to talking the synthetic championships. 4 great races, 250,000 apiece, huge fields, and hopefully we can make some money.
Definitely some handicapping puzzles. I know Jackson and I have dabbled a little bit so far as they just opened up last Wednesday. Did play it on Wednesday. I think I played on Friday. Had a little luck Wednesday, not so much Friday. It's been quite difficult, I think.
Always.
What do you guys think? Has it been speed favoring? I feel like I've kind of noticed that so far within the first week.
I think it was, somewhat fair. A little bit of everything. The one thing you can close, you can go to the front. So I think the best horses have been winning. There's a couple of exceptions. I think that one night I forgot, which I guess the night that triggered the big carryover. That would have been Thursday when we had those back-to-back bombs, that kind of. Yeah. But, keep an eye on it. One of the chart callers, he used to tell me that he always felt like when it rained, then it would get a little more speed friendly. So try to make notes if you're noticing the weather and try to pick up on that. But I think it's been somewhat fair for the most part.
Yeah, I like it. Let's go ahead and get into the 4 stakes that we're going to be talking about. Like you said, Tony, lots of great purses, obviously, in the state of Kentucky. Obviously, they're running these races up in Florence, and I'll go ahead and get those races that we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about races 6 through 9, which are the 4 stakes, the synthetic championships on Saturday, and it starts at 8:25 local time. With race 6 up on the screen now. We don't have morning lines or numbers in the program yet, but we'll do our best to kind of indicate who we think are the horses to beat and morning line favorites and what prices we see on other runners and such. We'll start with you, Tony. I think the horse that we should probably start our conversation with is the number 2, Caitlin or Greatness. Second last time to Pondering in a stake up at Woodbine. Pondering we'll actually see in the next following race. So what did you think about her and her chances as maybe the horse to beat in here?
Well, she's got all those graded races up in Canada at Woodbine, and people are going to gravitate to them. Sometimes I have a hard time figuring out where the Woodbine form really plays. I think in the stakes races, especially these graded races, I think it's probably strong. Sometimes the allowance ranks and even the upper claiming ranks, when they venture to Florence at Turfway, maybe the form's not quite as good as some of the other horses. So it's always a tough gauge. There was a horse that ran in the stakes race on Saturday, Swift Delivery. Travis Kelsey owns part of that horse. And he's got some similar company lines with a couple of the horses in the Prairie Bayou, and he didn't fare too well in that spot. So, I did a radio show last week, and I just said be a little careful sometimes with the Woodbine form, But this horse definitely fits the bill. She's got an inside post. She's got foundation in her corner with those longer races before the recent race, and it's hard to ignore all the grade 1s, the grade 2s, grade 3s. Not many of her rivals can actually say that. So she probably deserves top billing. She seems like she's really good on synthetic. I'll look to try to beat her, and I'm going to look at Next Up, and she's looking lucky. Those are the 2. I think Next Up doesn't get a lot of credit. I think she's pretty good. She ran big at Ellis. 3 back when she missed by a length to Hope Mission. I think Hope Mission would stack up fairly well in this spot. Looked like I didn't watch the replay on the 27th of September. I'm trying to remember the race. Looked like she had a little bit of trouble and made a good run. I'm a big fan of Golden Sunshine. I believe she's racing, if she's not in tomorrow, she's in Thursday. So you can put a couple bucks on Golden Sunshine. I believe it is tomorrow. She's all racehorse and admits a nice one. She had a disadvantageous post. So next up, I find very intriguing. And it's hard not to look at She's Looking Lucky. She doesn't win a lot, but I'll tell you what, I mean, you see Proctor Street. I think Proctor Street would be awfully difficult against this group. Those are the 3. Those are the 2 that I'm looking at to maybe try to upset this inside gal.
I like it, and She's Looking Lucky. I wasn't super pleased with the ride I thought she got last time. I thought Proctor Street kind of got the jump on her, even though she was behind her on the backstretch. I think Tyler was on Proctor Street that day, and he was able to kind of navigate a better trip than Dettori was able to, and kind of got the jump on her. And Dettori was a little caught off guard, was making up some ground late, which I think is probably a reason why you should use her here.
Seemed like Dettori had such a great Kentucky Downs, but it seemed like a lot of his Keeneland horses were further back than they really needed to be. So I like the Dettori angle off, to be honest. Especially when you get Luan Machado. I mean, he owns this racetrack. He really knows how to ride Turfway.
Jackson, where are you looking?
Yeah, this was definitely one of the horses I was looking at. I echo everything you guys said. She ran really well last time and was second behind Proctor Street, who would be the favorite in this spot. So based on that alone, you have to take a look at her. I don't love her races prior to that. Kentucky Downs, she was being as odds-on favorite. She didn't do a whole lot of running at Ellis. She really should have won that race, that Horseshoe Indy, which she established the lead in that spot. So I'm a little concerned she's a horse that likes to just settle for minor awards. And I'd be curious to hear what you have to say about this, Tony. But I really look for horses that have proven form over the surface this early in the meet. So that is a question mark for her too. Now it all depends on what kind of price she's going to be. If she's going to be 5 or 6 to 1, and sure, I'll bet her. I have a feeling she could go off as a second choice though. So we'll see what happens come Saturday with the price. But she's certainly one that has a long look in the spot.
No, there's a lot to say about that. Look, she has her win percentage is undesirable. 3 for 22, like you said, a lot of minor placing. She's never been on the synthetic. I'm basing Proctor Street, and I'm thinking that, if she's the second choice, I'm going to go to Next Up over her. I can say that. So, what were your thoughts on Next Up?
What do you think, Jackson?
Yeah, I thought she ran well last time. I mean, it's important to remember she was 70 to 1 in that spot. It wasn't like she was expected to run well in there, and she did. And she also, I think she hit the lead at the top of the stretch, and she took a big bump that kind of knocked her off stride for a little bit. And I thought she ran really well in that spot. And she is proven over this racetrack. She's going the right way. There's not a lot of speed in here. I think there's a couple horses in Landed and Not a Bush that kind of want to be forward, but they're not going to fly. And I think Next Up is a filly that can be very close. So she's one that's interesting too. I think she'll be a better price. I'm a little disappointed Admit isn't running in this race because
me too.
He was so good here earlier this year, and she won the Valley View. I kind of expected her to show up in this spot. So look for her if she shows up in the meet at Turfway later this year for sure.
No, this seems like it would have been a really good spot for her. Maybe, she had a long campaign. Maybe they just wanted to get her a little bit of a freshening, and she ran so huge last time. But like you mentioned, she ran so big earlier this year, leading up to trying to get into the Kentucky Oaks.
I kind of viewed Next Up and Vina Arana as kind of similar types, just, improving. I know Vina Arana's 4 at this point, but she's so lightly raced. I mean, obviously they got her started in the States way back in August of 24, but then we're off for so long, off for over a year. Had that race where she was bad at Keeneland and just ran kind of evenly. And then last time, granted, the trip was a little more advantageous for her than Next Up. Things kind of came apart, and I thought she benefited from that. But I kind of see those two similarly, where they're just kind of improving types. They're going to be maybe second flight mid-pack. And if I'm going to play a horizontal sequence, I think I'd probably include both of those. So I don't know if you guys had a thought about either of those two or anybody else.
Go ahead, Jackson.
Yeah, she's an interesting one because if I remember correctly, she was entered a couple of times over the summer and she scratched for various reasons. So there were some issues going on, but I think you want to be a little forgiving of the comeback race. And then she was pretty good at Churchill. I mean, she got a good number that day. It wasn't like that race was particularly close. I mean, you win by a length and a half on a closer on the grass. That's a pretty decisive margin. So she's certainly one that can take a step forward too. She's run okay on the synthetic, has to come off LASIK. So questions to answer, but at the right price, yeah, I don't hate her.
Yeah, I actually gave her out on her most recent race, the 22nd of November. She was my top pick that day. She ran exceptionally well. She's coming back a little quick for my liking. You know, she was away for so long, and now she's going to be back on 3 weeks rest in her third start on the comeback. But she's got a lot of talent. Unmerited favor. The gal that beat her two back's pretty good. And I remember that race. I didn't go back and watch the replay, but I remember when it happened. The runner-up, put her in your stable mail because I thought she ran exceptionally well, low key in love. So she definitely, if she was on 4, 5, 6 weeks rest, I'd really be endorsing her. But the 3 weeks rest just has me a little concerned.
Gotcha. No, I think that's a fair point. Another one that I'm going to be using is the one that you had mentioned, Jackson, Nanabush. This is a new acquisition for Horatio de Paz, and I don't know if this was a private purchase or not, but he's already got 2 wins in the meet. I know one of them was one of the first few races on opening day. This was a filly. I thought the race at Colonial, I was very impressed with. You don't see a ton of these Argentinian horses have some early gas like that, and got the lead pretty easily. Horse she beat that time, Distant Winter came back and won. And then last time, I don't know, I wasn't super thrilled with the trip that she got. I know she kind of dueled with a 100-to-1 shot, and then Cannon decided to back her off. Then she came again around the far turn, maybe hit the lead a little too early. And then she got checked late. She was really in tight down on the rail. And it very well could have been 4th or 5th by a length and a half, but just because of that trouble, it was 8th by 4.5. So maybe it looks a little bit worse than it is. Coming out of the same races, she's looking lucky. She's just one where I think there's a lot of directions to go. Caitlin or Greatness, is going to take a little money. And then some of the other horses that we talked about, I feel like she could get a little dismissed in the wagering, maybe hoping close to maybe 8 or 10 to 1, I would think.
Yeah, I think we'll get more than that, no? Based on the last race. I mean, she didn't run particularly well. She's going to be a big price. And as we've seen, especially in the 2-turn races, I think the sprints have played very fairly. The 2-turn races have been a little bit tilt more towards speed. But that's not new for Turfway Park. If horses establish easy lead, they've been able to run well. So if she is in that scenario, yeah, she's going to be tough in here. She makes the front end.
Yeah, you mentioned not a lot of pace, and maybe even if she sits a trip, maybe being inside, it'd be interesting to see, her being inside. Maybe she's the one that goes over landed, but both of them they have an opportunity to try to slow it down if they can, because like you said, there isn't a tremendous amount of pace on paper.
Definitely. Anybody else you guys want to talk about or thought was interesting?
Just real quick, Queen's Command, I thought was one I probably would have her in second. That last race, I thought was interesting. I'm not sure what to make of that Maple Leaf field. I don't know how strong it was, but it was a pace that completely fell apart, and she made the first move to try to break that race open. She makes an early move. She's right in front, turning for home, and you can look where the horses that finished first, Sultana and Dancing and Dixie, were. They were still last, turning for home. So the race just kind of fell apart late. I think she might have just moved too early. This cut back to a mile should do her some good. Yeah, she's interesting. She's proven over synthetic, not this synthetic necessarily, but she's also proven without LASIK. So some things to like about her. I do think she'll be a price in this spot as well.
I didn't know what to make of the race because look at the odds. She was 27 to 1. The rest of the field was between 7 to 2 and 5.5 to 1. So it was like she was the one. Like if you were playing a pick 5 ticket, like she would be the one where you would use all but her, and then she would have probably scared a lot of people because she hit the lead so early and only lost by a head. So I just didn't know what to make of the race. But I mean, obviously there's many horses that you could make cases for, definitely.
Yeah, no, this is a great race because I think if you're of the opinion that you want to try to beat Caitlin Her Greatness, who does have questions to answer because she really should have won her last 2 races. I mean, she was gone and then somehow got run down twice. If you're trying to beat her, she's going to be a short price, and there's plenty of horses to choose from in this race.
And Literate's another one I don't think is impossible. I mean, she's got some synthetic form, granted, over the summer, but she beat Caitlin Her Greatness in the Trillium back in July, so I don't think she's completely impossible. Maybe she just didn't like the dirt last time. I don't know. I think there's a lot of directions that you definitely can go in the My Charmer, but we can go ahead and move on to race 7, which I believe is the holiday inaugural. 6 furlongs. We'll go to the field, and I believe probably start the conversation here, Jackson, with the 2 L&J. Is it most likely that she's probably going to be favored, maybe the horse to beat? And she's kind of another one where you can make the case, maybe she just didn't like the main track last time.
She's certainly going to be one of the favorites in here. And she's another, much like Vina Arana, the race previous, where she was entered a couple times since that Prescott race where she just didn't make the gates for whatever reason. I think she was stuck on the AE out at Woodbine. So the fact that she ran in that race, it was on the dirt. It was only what, 12 days ago, and now they're running right back in this race. That kind of tells me that was kind of just a prep, because that's not something Brad Cox does very often, is running his horses back that quickly. So I want to be a little forgiving of that effort. I'm not saying I want to bet her at a short price in this race, but I think that last race is one you probably just pretend it didn't ever happen.
She's way better on turf and even synthetic. Her effort at Presque Isle is pretty good, and she was exceptional last summer at Ellis on the turf, and she took that to New York and ran some good races. You know, you look at her 3 disappointing efforts, they're all on dirt, and she's had trouble maybe getting away from the gate a little bit. Maybe she just doesn't push off as strong as she should out of the starting gate, but she's much, much better on turf and synthetic. But she's going to be a short price, and she's on short rest. So, you know, obviously you probably got to use her if you're playing any type of significant multi-race wager, but to try to key up on her, you know, Pondering's in good form. She's run some pretty big races in 2025, and she's more than capable of running a big race. That's for sure. So, you know, the one that I thought was a little intriguing in here, I believe her name, Chivetta. I picked her last time, and I thought she looked great winning. She had a little bit of trouble on the 5th of October effort at Keeneland. She didn't get a clean trip. I think if she could have got the trip that the winner got, she would have been the winner that day. I loved her last time. I couldn't believe I got 6-1. She's and she even showed me something being a little versatile. I expected her to be a little further back last time, and with an outside post, I think she could get a good run, and going from 5.5 to 6. She's a gal that I'm really interested in.
What do you think about the Jackson?
Go ahead.
You like them both? I think gun to head, I'd probably pick the other one, which is Pondering, just a little bit. Just I think she's getting good at the right time. I actually watched her work with Cameo Performance, and I thought she looked really good. Looks like she's coming into her own, and I think she just might be a little more polished than Chivetta. I thought Chivetta got a pretty good trip last time, but she's another one that, you know, maybe she's just rounding into good form too.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting that Irad ends up on the other one. If you guys recall opening day, he was on like 3 horses. They all got way over bet. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe the prices his horses were.
I know.
Now, they were live horses, to be fair, but they were like 3-5 when they should have been like 3-2. It was unbelievable. So I'm hoping that happens again with that horse. I think she's interesting, and she really frustrated me this winter at Gulfstream when she was going the mile, and I think she just didn't want to go that far. And then they finally cut her back, gave her a little freshening. She's been really good her last 2 races. She's been working at Turfway, you know, all fall. This is a surface she's probably supposed to handle. I think she's going to be better priced than the horses like the 2 and the 3. So I like her in this spot. I think we'll probably get 5-1-ish on her. I think that'd be a fair price, because the other thing we didn't talk about yet is the pace scenario. And this race was really not a confirmed front runner. I guess the horse to the outside is going to send. Other than that, it's going to kind of be up to these jockeys to decide who's going to be close to the pace. So I like when the fillies when just horses in general can be close, or they can come from way out of it, just adjust to the way the pace is shaking up.
No, and it's a strange race, and you would hope that some of those shorter prices would be a little bit closer, because I'm with you. This is really the only established front runner that I see, and I would probably use her on maybe some backups just because she's got Turfway form. She's quick. She's been off for a little while. I think she's going to be fresh and ready to go.
Yeah.
I give her a big look. Yeah.
My concern with her was her 2 races without Lasix are kind of a lot worse than everything with Lasix.
Yeah.
But, you know, speed of the speed is always dangerous. And as we kind of said, you know, she's supposed to be loose in this spot, so she should be tough.
Yeah, she's pretty intriguing. That's for sure.
Yeah. I have a question for Tony, just post position wise in these sprints, because I hear a lot of people talk about the inside being tough to overcome. Do you find that to be the case too? Do you agree with that, or you feel like it's pretty?
Well, it seems like if you're kind of a stalker, or you know, you're mid-pack horse, you're going to be at the mercy of trips. There was a horse, I think, on Saturday, War Legend. I think if that horse would have had an outside post, that one would have got to the winner's circle. Instead, Big Gary benefited being way on the outside, and I definitely would take a look at that in sprints. Now, obviously, if you're fast on the inside and you can clear away, I think that's all right. But sometimes those bottled up trips, you'll look back, and you know, that's what makes handicapping synthetic so hard, because you'll get that bottled up trip and you don't get out and you run second or third, and then everybody wants to come back next time. And it's amazing how they just sometimes they don't repeat it, or even pace scenarios. The one thing I've learned over the years handicapping on synthetic, you can have so many of the same horses, and they get different post positions, and the pace scenario changes entirely. It can get difficult, but yeah, I would have a little concern sometimes with those inside bottled up trips.
Life Spirit was one. I mean, if she gets back to some of the races that she ran in January and March, I mean, she's got a big shot. She's going to be what, 15-1 plus in here. Obviously, she's got her issues, but she likes here at Turfway. I mean, leave Joe Ramos and Asmussen off your ticket at your own will. That's kind of my thinking. I give her a small look.
Yeah, she was
Ahead,
phenomenal
Jackson.
here last year. I mean, she was 3 for 3, and she wasn't really, it was never in doubt. She won 2 stakes races. She beat good fields. But as you kind of alluded to, the question mark is she going to be ready off the bench? But this is a $250,000 race at her favorite racetrack. She's going to be ready to go. I mean, they're cranking her up to win this race. So if you get a price on her, yeah, I don't mind her at all.
All right, and I think we will probably get a price on her. People are going to see her last couple of races, and they're going to see she hasn't run in some time, and so I think she has a right to get a price. She was big last year, that's for sure. Nice as Pie. What do we do with her? I don't think she's quite as good in 2025, but she is finally getting back to her racetrack, and I think she's probably better as a sprinter than a two-turn. Her form's not quite as enticing, obviously, as it was last year. She tailed off a little bit when Light Spirit beat her that particular day, but I've seen her run some huge races over this racetrack.
Almost kind of seems like they've been longing to get back to Turfway, right? Like the turf sprints that she ran were okay. I mean, the one at Kentucky Downs I thought was fine, and then they try to stretch her out to a mile and maybe get her back to what she once was, because I think it was way back when she was a 2-year-old, wasn't it? When she kind of dominated at short prices, and there really wasn't anybody that could kind of keep up with her. Now at this point, it kind of seems like some of those horses have maybe caught up to her, and doesn't necessarily seem like she's really gotten any better. But who's to say that somebody can't use her at a big price? And then Minx Palace, some of the races I see and some of the bombs that I see, I feel like it's their first time when they try the synthetic, especially here at Turfway. And I think this is a horse that you've liked in the past, Jackson, when she's run in some graded stakes races on the main track. I mean, I wouldn't fault anybody for using her at a huge price. I mean, she's definitely got some okay races on the page.
Yeah, she was my huge wise guy horse last time on Churchill Downs when they were supposed to be off the pace and everyone scratched, and it kind of just didn't work out that day. If you're willing to toss that most recent race, the race was 2 and 3 back, or put her right there with everyone else. I know they came on the dirt, but if you're going to get a double-digit price on her, then she makes some sense in here. This is another really good race. I like Chevetta quite a bit, but, you can make a case for several horses.
No, you really can. The more you look at Minx Palace, she's one that's going to kind of fly under the radar. Her last race wasn't that good, but you mentioned it, Jackson. The race scratched. Everybody scratched out, and Hilarita was supposed to be on the lead, and she broke poorly and was able to run down Our Disaster. But she's got the Scat Daddy blood. She's never been on turf and synthetic. It's interesting. 2 out of her last 3 works have been on synthetic at Keeneland. I find that kind of very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Absolutely. I think we can move on unless you got something else, Jackson.
No, just while you're moving on, another general question just for Tony, because there's just been so many discussions about Turfway. Everyone's all excited about the meet, for good reason. And a lot of people, I think, have been saying that the turf form translates really well, but the dirt form does not. Do you agree with that too, or do you kind of just treat it like on a horse by horse basis?
More of a horse by horse basis. Obviously, if they've run well over the turf, or if they have turf blood and they've never been on the synthetic, I'll give them a look. You know what? Here's something I want people to think about on Turfway. Not necessarily in some of the upper echelon races, but at the lower level races, which we do have quite a few of them. Let's be honest. We have our mixture. Half the card's going to be pretty nice races, and the other half is kind of going to be horses that can run at Horseshoe Indianapolis or Belterra or those type of venues. Look for horses that have the dirt form that have been running in longer races. That's an angle I try to tell people to kind of key on. And you'll be surprised how many of those horses, wow, how did this one win? I don't really like it. Well, it had nothing but longer races, and now it shortens up to a mile out of a mile and a 16th, or mile races shortening up to 6.5. So, that would be what I would try to tell people. But definitely, obviously, I think turf and synthetic they kind of get very I think they're similar. But my father told me horses can win basically all surfaces. Like dirt horses can win on the turf. He used to turf horses. He kind of had his doubts if they could win on dirt. Sometimes, you got a really, really good turf horse that goes to dirt. Maybe that form's not going to be there, but he never used to shy away from betting a dirt horse on turf for whatever that's worth.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
We will move on to race 8, which is the Prairie Bayou. This is a mile for the boys, and another great race. I thought a lot of different directions that you could go.
Fun card.
What's up?
It's a fun card. I love this card. I think last year was the first year they had it, and it was phenomenal. And this year is just as strong. I mean, when you have horses coming from literally all over the place and 3 different surfaces, it just makes it really interesting. They're hard to dissect.
I mean, Cameo Performance and Theismann could maybe be some favorable choices maybe that you could see on the board. Tony, was there a direction that you're going to go in this race?
Well, it's this race I think is a little difficult. The horse that almost won the race last year seems to be in pretty good form. He just beat Cameo Performance. That's Dresden Rowe. That horse ran huge last year. He probably could have been the winner. Potteros got a little bit better of a trip. He hasn't done much wrong. He has his regular jockey this year. He had Martin Garcia last year. Big win last time. I just watched the replay, him and Cameo Performance. And, he had a little better trip, but he definitely had more energy under the wire than Cameo Performance. I respect both of them, that's for sure. Encino is the wild card for me, and the problem is he's probably going to be a short price. He's stuck out there in no man's land, but he really likes the synthetic. And, with Flavian up, I think that's big. Last time I read, couldn't really get him to settle. Both Encino and Quattrocento were horses that wanted to go, and their jockeys wanted them to settle. Flavian got Encino to settle beautifully at Presque Isle, and I really thought he had a big chance last time, but he just was a little rank and eager to go throughout it. I think it was because both him and Quattrocento were kind of giving each other negative energy early, trying to get the same trip, and they were kind of like with each other. The fact that Flavian gets back aboard, an outside post, he showed it to me once upon a time when he won the Battaglia. He's such a big, strong horse. I have a lot of respect for Encino. And if I can get anywhere near 4-1, 3-1, 7-2, I'd be happy with that. I'm a big fan of this horse.
Jackson, what do you think? Because I know you're a little anti-outside post, especially in these mile races at Turfway, just because it's such a short run. But I feel like the style that you want is either A, you send like he does, or B, you drop out the back. And I think it could work out for him, I think. I think he's definitely got enough speed to have it work out for him.
Yeah, the post is really tough. The mile versus the mile 16th at Turfway, I think, is a huge difference for the outside post. I agree. There's just no run-up. But if you are a horse that is on the outside post, you want a horse that has speed. And he does have a lot of speed if they want to use it. And he is a synthetic horse, make no mistake. He is good on the turf. He's good on the dirt, but he is very good on the synthetic. I mean, he ran huge in the Kentucky Cup Classic, running second to Mercante. Mercante came right back, and I think he was second on Derby Day and then won a stake race after that. So really good form lines there. I know the Presque Isle Downs race, he smoked that field, closing to a really slow pace. I mean, he's just done nothing wrong on this surface. And if Pratt can work out any kind of trip, he's going to be very tough. The post for me is so difficult. I want to make sure I'm getting the best of the price on him. If he's like 5-2, I don't want him. But I think, like Tony said, if he's going to be around 4-1, I think that's a good price.
And you have to believe Quattrocento is probably going to be It's probably going to be up there too. We saw, what day was that? Was that Thursday when Julian took that 35-1 shot and just opened up by 8, and then everyone thought it was back to him, and that wasn't actually the case. But Dresden Rowe, this is the one that I wanted to hear from you, Jackson, because he's such a weird horse. I mean, some of the races at Woodbine, he was in spots where he felt like he was probably supposed to get the job done. And then he was really supposed to get the job done in that prep race and lost by 12, and then got floated up to 6-1 last time and then was able to win. I didn't know really what to make of him.
Yeah, I loved him last time. I made a lot of money on him. I don't know what happened to back. I had no clue. He was horrific. But the races 3 and 4 back, he had legit excuses. I think one of them was like just complete pace duel, and he got the best of the speed and got run down late by a horse way out the back. The other one, he got a ton of traffic trouble, found himself, went from like 2nd to 8th, and then re-rallied to get 2nd. So those were good races. And as Tony said, in this race last year, he ran huge against Paros, who at the time had won I think Paros had won 6 or 7 in a row. at that
He
point.
was on fire. He was on
just,
fire.
yeah, phenomenal form. So he's a horse that's very good. He's very tactical. He could not have gotten a better trip last time, but he won like he was supposed to with that trip. So he does have that going for him. Good inside post. Do you think he'll be favored to Tony? I feel like he probably will be, right?
I think he has a shot to be favored. I like you said, Encino's outside post is probably gonna not make him be the favorite. So who else are they gonna land on? And this is the horse that's coming off the big win last time. He almost won this race last year. Toss out the dismal effort 2 back. He's been pretty good. Like you said, I didn't watch the replay. I'm seeing it was a 4-horse field. It's amazing sometimes short horse prices in small fields how they lose. That's why it's horse racing, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those races where he ran so bad that I just wanted to toss it out because he's just clearly like that's not his good efforts. I'd be more concerned if he ran like 5 or 6 points lower than he usually did. So,
and plus, you got such a good prize last time. I mean, he's odds on, and then you get him 6 to 1, almost 7 to 1. That's when you're supposed to bet.
Right.
Yeah. Is there a small chance that? Well, I think Cameo Performance. Is there a small chance that Theismann maybe takes a good amount of money just because there's a lot of ones on the page? He's getting better. Speed's been good. I know he's probably could maybe make a case for him to be a short price. And then Cameo Performance is another one that I feel like I never get right. He had a weird trip last time, but then he got out. I think he actually hit the rail in that race.
I think he did. Yeah.
Even though it doesn't say it in the comments. But then I didn't love that he wasn't able to get second because I felt like he was about 1 to 5 to get second, and he wasn't able to. So I don't know. Maybe that was a synthetic. Irad's been skunked. There are a lot of mixed signals for me with Cameo Performance.
If they go fast early, let's say Theismann really sets a fast pace, and Encino can't settle, and he's pushing the entire time, and who knows what Quattrocento's going to do? Because, like I said, go watch the River City replay. Both Quattrocento and Encino were really, really headstrong. And they wanted to go. So it's in both of their races, some of their races are better when they are allowed to go. So if it really heats up, you would have to think Cameo Performance is going to get that coveted type of turf trip. He's going to be inside. He's going to be saving as much ground as he can. And he's got a lot of foundation. And I think his kick's going to be even more effective going 1 mile than it was 1.1 miles. He's very intriguing. And he probably offers some value. I mean, I see this horse being close to 6 to 1 probably in this spot, if not higher. Yeah. Maybe with Irad, it kind of nullifies that a little bit, right?
Yeah. What you think?
Took the words right out of my mouth, but yeah, he's very interesting because we didn't even talk about horsepower. Horsepower is through post 2. I mean, if you're on that horse, you got to think your only chances to go. I mean, he has to stand from out of there. Encino's very quick if he wants to be. Quattrocento, like we said. Dresden Road is going to be close. He always is. This pace could get really hot, and if it does, it lends itself to a horse coming from out the back.
Definitely. I think Cameo Performance could be one of those horses that gets a favorable setup in here. We will move on to race.
Just real quick, I want to talk about Chiron because I love horses that pay $85 in back-to-back races. I don't know how. It's just unbelievable to me. I'm not betting him in this spot. I just think he's a cool horse getting back to his preferred track. I mean, he was 40 to 1 and then he was 36 to 1. Came right back and won both those races. And it's not like he beat a bad field in that Desert Commander. He beat Hotspur Storm was a good horse in good form at the time. Yeah. I don't know what he's done since then, but he's not impossible.
I like it. Big bombs were given out.
Yeah.
Let's go to race 9. It's the Holiday Charmer, I believe. 6 furlongs for the boys. Got some very notable names in here. Ron Carson, Howard Wolowitz, who we thought we might see over the Breeders' Cup, but they gave him a little bit of time. Obviously, he's got proven form, won this race around this time last year. Another great race. I mean, it just caps off a great card that we're going to see on Saturday.
Yeah, this is a cool race, that's for sure. I mean, all 4 races were handicapping. I mean, maybe, if we're spreading as much as we, kind of talked about the previous 3 races, we got to get a little thinner here. And maybe Howard is the one to key on. Last year I liked Run Carson a lot coming into this spot. And I left after the race saying, well, I evaluated that one wrong because Howard's a monster. And I'm willing to forgive the turf mile, a grade 1 at a distance that he's probably doesn't want. I believe in Jose D'Angelo. I love Ben Tornado in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And I mean, Howard impressed me so much over this racetrack when he was much the best with a rail post that day, and his race 2 back to Bear River. I know it's Bear River. Bear River had a lot of fight to him this summer, so I'm really big on Howard Wallowitz. He could be a single for me. Just trying to so I can use as many as I can to get to him.
Yeah, just get a lie, right? Name of the game. What you think, Jackson?
No, he's way the horse to beat. You look at his 2 races on the synthetic; they've been just monster performances. He's overcome, not the easiest trips. He drew the rail both times. Just smoked those fields, and his last 2 races are good too. He lost at Kentucky Downs. Bear River got loose that day and won, but Cadden came right back and won the stake at Keeneland. So that was a good field. The Turf Mile, as Tony said, I mean that was not a good trip, and it actually ran okay. I mean he was in contention until deep stretch. This is what he wants to do. He's the horse to beat. He's versatile running style. He's going to be tough. I'm not sure I'm betting him, but he's way the horse to beat.
Yeah, it just kind of seems like him or a collection of others. I know Roland Big Joe is one that I've cast on a couple of times. He's always kind of seemed like maybe a B type level sprinter on the dirt, but I think he's a little interesting when he gets onto the synthetic, and he's got 1 win all the way back. It's not even on the page, so he's got some proven form on the synthetic. And another one that's going to be forwardly placed. I think you give him a look, and then no balls. You got Larry Ravelli. This horse has been running forever, probably since last time that he didn't run was a long time ago, obviously. But I mean, he didn't get bad. He won last time over at Woodbine and was close to a decent pace. So to me, it's kind of Howard or a good chunk of them.
Yeah, I like to rest me red a little bit in this spot. I thought he was a little bit dirtied up form his last couple of races for Wesley Ward. I'm hoping Machado has a big day because it seems like I like all of his horses on Saturday. I thought the race at Keeneland, he was on the rail and then he tried to get out and the hole shut off on him late and then he swerved back to the inside. By the time he did, the race was over. So I think he probably would have been a little bit closer had he got a clean run at it. The Kentucky Downs race, he's probably a little bit further back than he wanted to. And then just running a little short before that. I think the 6 furlongs is going to hit him right between the eyes. He obviously likes this racetrack. He's never missed the exacta here. Another horse that can be close, but also can come from way out of it. And I'm not sure he's going to be – I think it's going to be a decent price in here. I think Howard's going to take a lot of money, as you guys said. And after that, it's going to kind of spread out. So I think if you could get 5-1 on him, I think it's a decent price.
Yeah, he did run. He ran big here in March when he won the Big Daddy last year. That was a big effort. He hadn't been seen for 6 months or so. That was a big effort. He comes into this one pretty fresh and looks like he's kind of being pointed for this one.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I think I actually might have liked him a little bit last time in the Woodford and didn't get a great trick particularly, but obviously you'll get an okay price just because, like you said, the form is dirtied up a little bit. Lost the Script and Joe Shiesty, who are in this race. Joe Shiesty is another one where there's some speed signed on, but it kind of seems like with an outside post, and he's had some success. I think his best success was on the lead. So do they revert back to those tactics? Because they've been a little passive as of late.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to him. I mean, he's had some trouble getting out of the starting gate a little bit, and maybe that's what's kind of dulled him up a little bit. But you're right. He was at his best when he would go to the lead and just try to whistle away. I think Eric Foster was quoted. I don't know if it was in June or if it was – I think it was in June. And he just basically said, hey, anybody that wants to try to go run with him early, you're at the mercy because this horse is really, really fast. So, going out of 5.5 furlong races to 6, I would have to think he's going to be aggressively put into play, and that gives him his best chance. And he does like the synthetic. He's run some big races here.
Anybody else you want to talk about, Jackson?
Not really.
What do you think of Script? I think Script kind of flies a little bit under the radar. I like the DeBob. I'm a big fan of DeBob, who I think would somewhat fit in here. And, there's that Kadem, and he's run well over this racetrack. I mean, he ran big on a couple of occasions. He kind of tailed off a little bit against that Nash effort, but he had a lot of races. He was on a lengthy campaign. I think he's a little intriguing out there.
Yeah, I'm still a little annoyed with him. I needed him for a BCBC seat last time, and he got second. Chris Couples in the chat had DeBob, who came and beat us. So, we're texting back and forth. Chris is a great friend. I liked him in the same race you talked about, Tony, at that Nash race. I thought Script could not lose that day. He ran just okay. But on his best effort, he's gonna be right there. He's a horse that's mostly very consistent. He likes his racetrack. He's gonna have a chance too. And I don't think he's gonna be a short price. I think he's gonna be double digits in this race. And sometimes when you have these races where it's kind of a murky pace scenario, he's gonna be like mid pack. He's gonna mostly stay out of trouble. He's gonna get a good trip in this spot, so I don't mind it.
And Ron Carson's going to fly a little bit under the radar. I was so big on him last year when he won that race with Pratt in late November at Churchill. I was like, wow, this is a future. I was like, this horse is just. I was like so in love with him, and he's basically given me the finger ever since. I mean, he really has. Look at right. He hasn't run a jump for me. I mean, he ran good against Howard. I mean, this year. I loved him at Keeneland. I've probably lost $200 on him that day. I came back and probably bet him in early May. And so maybe he owes me and I'm getting off him a little too soon because he's got some nice works. And the one race wasn't bad. I mean, look who beat him. He's got the Howard Wolowitz company lines in the same race.
I know I definitely bet him in the Turf Sprint at Churchill. I know that very well. But I didn't think the Shakertown was all that like him. I saw what you saw, Tony. I mean, I know at Churchill, second behind Howard Wolowitz, and then I just thought with the break would really help him out. And he lost to Think Big, but he didn't really have much excuse. So I gave him one more shot, and it really wasn't worth it. But, maybe I should. Maybe this is the time.
Maybe we owe it to ourselves to just maybe some small little backup tickets because he's probably going to be double digits. He's probably going to be double digits off his form, and he hasn't run since June. And, people are going to see how everybody in the race beats him, so.
Yeah. I like it. I think that's everything that we need to cover, Jackson, unless you got something else. You're the one that typically does this show, so.
No, I'm good. It's a phenomenal card. There's a big Twin Spires contest for this card on Saturday I'm hoping to play. But now that I've kind of gone through the races, I'm like, I don't even know where I'd begin to try to take some stabs. I mean, they're deep races, very competitive.
Yeah, I know we're all looking forward to Saturday, Tony, but is there anything during the week, either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday that people should note of at Turfway Park?
Yeah, let me. If you're in town on Thursdays, we have they call it Trifecta Thursdays, and we've got dollar hot dogs and dollar draft beers and live music, so that's pretty cool. And we've got some good racing, that's for sure. I'm trying to get to Wednesday because I'm trying to see when my Golden Sunshine's in. I want everyone to bet her, that's for sure. I'm a big fan of her. I think she's in tomorrow. Let's see. I think she's in the feature race going 1.25 miles. Let's see. Well, there's actually another girl in there. She's in this one. Celtic Charm or Celtic Charm. She's one I've had on my radar. She ran huge last time to Caviar Breakfast. She hadn't been seen in quite some time. She had run a really bang up debut at Keeneland last year. So tomorrow night, that's my girl in the feature, the 3, Celtic Charm.
I like it. Well, appreciate the time, Tony. Thanks for coming on again. I know Ryan and Jackson and myself all appreciate it. And Jackson, I'll see you in about an hour and 45 minutes, my friend.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you. It's fun.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. We will see you next time.